We've made it to the end of our string of 5 saints and 5 island countries. Last time we cooked a whole bunch of different dishes which were really great and one which was the biggest catastrophe of all time. Question is, o que vou fazer desta vez? And welcome back to Cliffieland. This is weekend country number 149 on our second attempt of cooking the food of every single country in the world. And tonight over to the nation of São Tomé and Principe. Sao Tome and Principe is a small island nation, technically 2 collections of archipelagos which are centered around the islands of Sao Tome and Principe, which are located just north of the equator and just west of Gabon in Western Africa. It is a very tiny country, technically the second smallest in all of Africa, and it has a dark and complicated past involving having once been a colony of Portugal and being a main way station for the trade in enslaved persons from Africa. As such, its food is a mixture of the Portuguese tradition as well as the African tradition, and involving elements and items from throughout all parts of the former Portuguese Empire. It has a lot of different dishes that involve a lot of things, including seafood and fish, as well as cooked bananas and corn and beans and tropical fruits such as pineapples and bananas. And there are even dishes involving using coffee as a spice, which we took care of last time. So let's take a look and see how things went when we tried things then. Well, 4 years ago on the Global Cooking Challenge, I got to cook across 3 nights and live stream across 3 nights, which involved some hijinks. The first night we cooked what is basically the national dish, as I understand, of Sao Tome and Principe, which is callaloo de peixe, which is a massive dish. Normally involves pounds of fish and prawns and eggplant and you name it, a whole bunch of different things, much more than you'd ever do for 2 people. It takes about 5 hours to cook. We found a reduced version of the dish. It came out okay for us last time, but we're not going to attempt to do that this time because we just are not having a giant party and not buying all that food for just 2 people. And what we served with that is what wound up being the biggest catastrophe of all time here on the Global Cooking Adventure, in that I tried to make a fungi, which is a cassava flour version of what is in essence the basic starch of just about every country south of the Sahara. In this case, it is using cassava flour and water as the only 2 ingredients. What I didn't know then, that of course I know now, is that cassava flour and cassava starch are not the same thing. So what started out being sort of a pasty, watery thing wound up being a gummy thing, which wound up being an everlasting gobstopper, which was the only thing ever that went right from the stovetop to the garbage with no stops in between. Over 3,000 people watched that mess, and if you want to find the live stream of it, you can find it here on our YouTube channel because it's fun to point and laugh. But we're not going to try to do that this time. We will wind up doing that for a later country. And we'll do it right. Now what we did on the 3rd night is we did a cubed chicken with coffee sauce, which was phenomenal in that you actually started by brewing a cup of coffee and using actual coffee beans in the dish. It tasted really nice. My only complaint about that was that I used chicken breasts as the cubes, and since chicken breasts tend to get a little bit dry, it didn't have all the flavor it really could have. So that was fine. And we served that with an anjo de banana, which is a banana puree, which is a green banana mashed. It was okay, very simple, basic, and we've done a lot of green bananas recently, so we're not doing it again this time. What we are doing here is what we did on the 2nd night, which is matata, no hakona involved, which is a clam in port sauce. Now what happened last time when we cooked this dish is that I noticed that the sketchy recipe called for 4 cups of chopped cooked clams, and I did not want to buy a can of clams because that just seemed really like cheating. So I approached a chef friend of mine who gave me a fantastic recipe on how to cook fresh clams, and I cooked them in this wine sauce and they were really great. Unfortunately, I didn't wind up with 4 cups of the clams, and as a result the dish I made was really nice but didn't have enough clams in it. Now this time you're gonna see that I decided not to go that route, because when I went to the fishmonger and I asked for 4 cups of clams when I'm done with the fresh clams, that would be like this many clams and it would cost a whole lot of money, and he said what you probably should do here is use these frozen chopped sea clams, which is what they use in their restaurant in the fresh clam chowder. So that's what I'm doing instead this time, and you're going to see that in the ingredients, which we're going to get to now when you see what goes into tonight's dish. For our matata, or clams in port wine, we'll need, first, for the clams, enough raw fresh clams to result in 4 cups of cooked clams. In our case, we're going to be using raw frozen clams, 2 pounds worth, 1 bottle of white wine, 3 garlic cloves, 2 to 3 sprigs of fresh thyme, 1 teaspoon of red chili flakes, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And for the stew itself, 1 cup of onions finely chopped, half a cup of olive oil, 1 cup of port wine, 1 cup of roasted peanuts chopped, 2 tomatoes seeded and diced, salt and pepper to taste, 1 more teaspoon of crushed red pepper, and about 5 ounces of fresh spinach chopped. So that looks really good. I'm going to be doing these frozen chopped clams for the first time, so bear with me, but it's going to be really nice. It's time to get cooking! Heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large saucepan over medium heat. Then add the garlic, the thyme sprigs, 1 teaspoon of red chili flakes if desired, and saute until fragrant, about 1 to 2 minutes. Then add the wine, and after 1 to 2 minutes, add in the drained chopped clams, and let them gently boil for 1 to 2 minutes. Then drain them, picking out the garlic and thyme, and place the clams on a paper towel-lined plate. Cover and place the plate in the refrigerator to halt the cooking process. You can also save and refrigerate the strained liquid for cooking later. Rinse the saucepan and over medium heat, heat the half a cup of olive oil. And when shimmering, add in the diced onion and saute until softened, about 2 to 3 minutes. Add in the 1 cup of port, the chopped peanuts, the diced tomatoes, and salt and pepper to taste. Then add the other teaspoon of the red chili flakes, and let simmer for 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. Then add the spinach, and stir until wilted. 2 minutes before serving, add in the chopped clams, and cook those for the last 2 minutes. You can serve this over rice, placing rice at the bottom of stew bowls or on plates, and scoop on servings of the clams. Wipe plates and serve. How'd that all turn out? Well, amazingly really well. I did kind of mess up a little bit here and there, but it worked out okay. The dish was really nice. It had a really nice heat from those red chili flakes, which is common in dishes of this country. And it had the peanuts, which gave a nice bit of crunch. There were certainly plenty of clams to go around. They were certainly not rubbery, which was a little fear of mine, because clams can be that way if you don't cook them the right way, or if you cook them too long. It went really nicely on the rice, and that port sauce was, I can't really describe it. It had a nice bit of punch, it had an odd bit of sweetness, but it made for a truly interesting dish, which we both really enjoyed. So I'm gonna give the matata 4 to 5 globes. Really nice dish. Good on ya, São Tomé Principe. That does it for this little stint in Africa. We'll be back before too long, but next week we go over to the Middle East and have the food of Saudi Arabia. See you then. And remember, if you'd like to be advised when these videos are posted, please be sure to follow us on Periscope. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Like and subscribe if you'd like to be advised when these videos are posted, and be sure to hit that bell to get those notifications. Remember, links to the original recipes can be found in the About section. If you have any thoughtful feelings or helpful suggestions about the food we're eating, please be sure to sound off in the comments. Thanks for watching, and happy eating!